To think, some of you doubted me. You doubted my intellectual prowess. When I said, no, it wasn't what I said. I made a grand claim that torsion bars, in my opinion, were not legal within the Motorsport UK regulations. And today we find Motorsport UK have updated the regulations to now specifically allow for torsion bars. I was right, folks. I was right. Right, joking aside, some of you might take that seriously and think I'm an egomaniac, which is kind of half true. I am, yeah. Anyway, so 7 months ago, right, I did a video explaining why I felt torsion bars were not permissible within the Motorsport UK yearbook regulations, which basically regulate kart chassis design and manufacture. So the quick rundown was the regulations basically say chassis have to be one piece construction, either welded or brazed, and in addition to that, no chassis frame control like pivots or dampers is allowed. And also the regulations state, unless the regulations specifically say you can do something, you can't. So the gist of my argument was that a torsion bar, which is just a bar, you know, it could, you know, you could make it out of whatever the chassis is made out of, and in effect, you know, you have a torsion bar that you bolt in, and from the chassis perspective, in my view, it's part of the chassis component. Okay, so chassis has to be either welded or brazed, everything. Now the secondary argument is you can say, well, it's not part of the chassis. But if it's not part of the chassis, it's chassis frame control, and that's also outlawed, right? So in my reading of the regulation was technically, if you were to introduce torsion bars today, and they weren't just part, you know, they weren't sort of ubiquitous in karting, they would be deemed immediately illegal. Where there's sort of crossover, where there's reason why it's become a problem is because CIK, the sort of regulations, if you want to homologate a kart, specifically allow for torsion bars, but the Motorsport UK regulations kind of haven't been updated, and that's how they sort of slipped into the UK scene kind of unnoticed, because if Tony Carter releasing a kart, why would it not be legal, and that kind of stuff. So basically what's happened, I believe, is someone at Motorsport UK, one of the kart technical committees, must have been alerted to my video. And I know a few people sort of argued that they thought I wasn't correct, and some people agreed. I was pretty firm that I was right. I couldn't see how they were legal if you removed the fact that they're sort of, as I said, ubiquitous in karting and everywhere. If you remove that sort of bias just from a pure reading perspective, they weren't legal. So today, Motorsport, and I've known about this for a while, but today Motorsport UK have released their July approved changes. So if you go on the website, if you put Motorsport UK approved changes into Google, it will link you to the latest update. And this is where they sort of update regulations. You should always keep an eye on this anyway if you're racing, because sometimes regulations can be updated and people don't keep abreast with the new information. So what have they changed? So basically, if you put Control F torsion, you'll find it. It's basically regulation U16.3.3, and the old regulations stated any form of chassis frame control which includes pivots, dampers, or similar devices is prohibited. That was the old regulation. Now, in addition, it's highlighted in red. That's how you know it's a new edition. It says the addition of bolt-in torsion and or stiffness bars is specifically permitted, subject to class regulations. So now Motorsport UK are basically saying yes, you can definitely run torsion bars, and they've made that very clear. And the reason, it says clarification, it says the use of torsion bars in most classes is commonplace, yet existing yearbook regulations could be read to exclude their use. So basically what I sort of argued was that the regulations do not allow for them. Now I actually believe that had anybody protested, you could have won. You know, how many races people have won without torsion bars, and they might have been, in my reading of the regulations, and I think confirmed, I guess, by this, everyone else would have probably come a cropper. I mean, that's how I view it. And I think anybody that would have come forward with a strong protest could have won. So if you've come second at Kart Masters and you rode without a torsion bar, hard luck. You should have read the regulations. You might have lost out on a win. And but anyway, that aside, I think it's quite a cool little story because it shows you that it's worth reading the regulations. It's worth looking for loopholes. It's worth getting things clarified, because at the end of the day, you're racing other people, and the objective is to beat them, not to be their friends. It's to win races or to build the fastest kart possible, that kind of stuff. So I encourage everybody, just look at the regulations. You know, you never know what you might find, and you know, Motorsport UK, at least in this regard, have updated the regulations to reflect an issue that was raised, and I think that's a positive thing. So there are other regulations in there that I do think are probably in the yearbook that are outdated, but they're not based on performance. They're based on suit regulations, which you will be more aware of, more than aware of, because I've made guys think about it. But anyway, if you're running torsion bars, you no longer have to worry, or you're kind of legal. I do think the regulations could be written a little better, because it is quite complicated to describe what a chassis is and what a kart is from a regulatory standpoint. It's not. It's actually more complicated than it first looks, you know, because you have to say, what is a torsion bar? They've just said torsion bar. You know, it's nomenclature that we're familiar with, but from a regulatory point of view, it probably needs to be refined a little bit. But alas, I think for the function of karting, you know, I won't go too heavy on that. I'll just say, fair enough. I think it gives enough leeway to say torsion bars are legal. So there you go. I know it's kind of funny because it's just like a torsion bar reg, but you know, can you imagine just like thinking that for so many years, they need this regulation hasn't been clear, and everybody's been running torsion bars, and it's just one of those weird things that I just find quite entertaining. So yes, thank you for watching. Always read the regulations. You never know what you might find. And yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, check out the Patreon, all that kind of stuff. And thanks for watching. Oh, and if you find anything else in the regulations that's kind of funky, let me know, and I might do a video on it. So yeah, there you go. Thank you for watching.